Мы видим инфраструктуру НАТО прямо у нашего дома. Более того, обсуждаются вопросы вступления Украины.
Nazis in Ukraine? Putin's conquest explained. It's a full-scale conflict. Could it resort to World War III? The world is standing at the edge of its seat. Our hearts are pounding while also skipping beats. And we're all waiting to exhale so we can breathe again. When former KGB officer and now indefinite President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, used the Nazi narrative to justify his attack on Ukraine, people went bonkers. To be more precise, on the 24th of February, Russian President Vladimir Putin was quoted saying that he had launched Russian forces against key Ukrainian military and logistic posts, and his mandate is for the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. Various experts came out to woodwork, grieving and bereaving, claiming that Putin hopes Russians will back military action by touching upon generations-old scars left from the Nazis' attack on Russia during World War II. So, they screamed slander and falsehood when Putin peddled accusations of Nazi elements within Ukraine borders. This justification of the attacks on Russia's western neighbor did not hold up to scrutiny. Many so-called experts noted that for a long time, Putin has campaigned to falsely portray Ukraine as a Nazi breeding ground. But this seemed like madness since the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, is Jewish, and it's been confirmed that he lost 3 family members in the Holocaust. Plus, Ukraine's former Prime Minister, Volodymyr Groysman, is also of the Jewish faith. Their positions of power speak to the positive dimension of Ukrainian-Jewish relations. Professionals on the matter also said that claiming to fight the Nazis is actually a euphemism for replacing the Ukrainian government. And this was said by Andrzej Dobryansky of the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, an ethnic advocacy group based in New York City. Another expert speaking out on the topic was Michael McFaul, a former U.S. ambassador to Russia. With overflowing frustration, he fought to contain his anger over Putin's Nazi narrative. On MSNBC's Morning Joe, McFaul said, "He's talking about denazification. There are no Nazis in Ukraine. The leader of Ukraine is not a Nazi. He's a democratically elected leader. He's Jewish. He is not a Nazi. I'm sorry I'm so emotional, but we've got to get over the fact that we're dealing with this guy on some realpolitik, cost-benefit analysis." Those who oppose Putin did admit that an estimated 24 million Soviet citizens died during World War II by the hands of Nazis. And many Ukrainians did fight for the Axis powers. But they acknowledge that people shouldn't conflate modern Ukraine with elements of its problematic past. Yes, it is regretfully actually true. During World War II, some Ukrainian nationalists fought with the Nazis, battled the Polish underground, and helped the Germans round up Jewish citizens for genocide. Moreover, a large portion of Ukrainians joined the SS Galicia division created by the Germans in 1943. This SS Galicia division was primarily composed of ethnic Ukrainians and commanded by German officers. The division fought alongside the Germans against the Red Army on the Eastern Front. All in all, about 1.4 million of 2.3 million Ukrainian Jews perished during the Holocaust. However, it's been reported that in today's Ukraine, the remaining pro-Nazi movement is not an open or influential force. While the Ukrainian National Guard is home to the Azov Battalion, there is no evidence to suggest widespread support for such extreme right nationalism in the government, military, or electorate, according to experts who are pro-Ukraine. However, in 2014, The Guardian ran an expose with the headline, "Azov fighters are Ukraine's greatest weapon and may be its greatest threat." According to this article, it was reported that the Azov Battalion being extremely nationalistic, fight alongside the Ukrainian army against their pro-Russia countrymen, and they've developed a systematic reputation for fearlessness in battle. However, the Azov Battalion had also been profiled as the most serious threat to the Ukrainian government. The great majority of Azov Battalion admires Adolf Hitler as a great military leader. Most of them are Holocaust deniers, and their emblem to this day is reminiscent of the Nazi Wolfsangel. When writer and investigative reporter Sean Walker of The Guardian interviewed various members of Azov Battalion, he learned that aside from many members exposing their Nazi tattoos, they claimed that their political ideology is National Socialist, which was actually the same doctrine as Hitler. One could draw conclusions about the newest type of socialism, which is democratic socialism, being peddled by Senator Bernie Sanders for years. Although the names might be similar, Bernie Sanders is full of racial inclusion, yet he still advocates for big government as he advocates for socialism and a redistribution of wealth. As for the so-called right-wing coalition of ultranationalists, the Ukrainian parliamentary elections of 2019 witnessed a huge fail for all the Adolf Hitler sympathizers and Holocaust deniers. As a matter of fact, out of the country's 450-member legislature, not a single seat was occupied by neo-Nazis. On top of that, for several years, U.S. appropriations laws have included a provision banning spending in support of the Azov Battalion. So for this reason, David Harris, CEO of the advocacy group American Jewish Committee, said he's confident that Putin's Nazi narrative won't work. Harris continued by saying, "First, Ukraine is led by a Jewish president, who was overwhelmingly chosen by voters in a democratic election. It reflects today's Ukrainian mindset and outlook, a far cry from the past. And second, the ones behaving like Nazis are, let's be clear, Putin and his regime, brazenly invading another country, invoking fake grievances, lying incessantly, and denying another nation's right to chart its own destiny are all, yes, taken from the Nazi playbook." Next, it didn't take long for the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum to compose a statement. They said Putin has misappropriated Holocaust history with his false claim that Ukraine needs to be denazified. The statement went on to read, "The museum stands with the Ukrainian people, including the thousands of Holocaust survivors still living in the country." Museum Chairman, Ambassador Stuart E. Eisenstadt, said in the statement, "These survivors are remnants of one of Europe's largest pre-war Jewish populations that was almost completely decimated by the Germans in World War II. Having suffered terribly as victims of both Nazism and communism, Ukrainians today are seeking to fulfill their democratic aspirations." As for more experts on the topic, one could consider the statement from Johann Petrovsky Stern, a Ukrainian native and professor of Jewish history at Northwestern University, who said Putin's claims about denazification goes against elemental truth. He went on to say, "People who believe him and who spread these lies are engaging in slander." Petrovsky Stern said, "Ukraine is a multi-ethnic country in which minorities like Georgians have key government roles, and it has a Jewish president." What are your thoughts given the detailed statements of experts and the reports on history? Do you think President Putin's excuse of invading Ukraine due to denazification is a poor excuse? Or does it actually hold some viable weight? Let your opinion be heard by commenting down below. At least for now, we still have the freedom of speech. For more content like this and much more, click that like and subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and share this video. And for your knowledge and entertainment, have a look at these other videos from Best of Tens.